All sensors are clear, Captain.
Okay.
Onius 2, a Class M planet in a system consisting of 3 unformed planets. Because of the high level of micrometeorite activity in the system, it is unusual for a Class M planet to exist. The planet is not inhabited and is not scaled.
That's what we had like last time. See, episode 6. So
Nova Attar, a Federation system whose third planet, Nova Attar 3, is the home of the Smithsonian Annex for this sector of the galaxy. Nova Attar is renowned for its rich collection of artifacts.
So we have a museum. Okay. All right. Then we have this old-fashioned copy protection. So you shouldn't like pick the wrong one here. Yeah, pay the chimera here. Nova Attar is numbered 16 and it's over here. Old-fashioned copy protection.
Nova Attar, Captain. Bring us into standard orbit, Mr. Sulu. Aye, Captain.
That was fast.
May I respectfully remind the Captain that we haven't accomplished our mission, sir.
K is the Kirk. Okay. That actually makes sense.
Mr. Scott, Mr. Chekhov, come with me. Mr. Spock, you have the comm.
Oh, the museum level. Yeah, definitely.
Captain Kirk, good to meet you. I am Boris Brezhnev, curator of the museum. Everyone is buzzing about visitors from the Enterprise. A real feather in my cap.
The pleasure is ours, sir. This is my chief engineer, Mr. Scott, and Ensign Chekhov, our navigator.
Most pleased to meet you both. Chekhov, a fine name. I'm certain you will be interested in sampling the Kazakhstani cognac, distilled and blended by my family. In fact, I will later show you my most prized possession, a bottle of our finest vintage, aged 14 years from our very first pressing.
But isn't cognac French?
Originally, Mr. Scott. But before my ancestors came to settle this planet, they went to Cognac and purchased cuttings, brought them here, and made enhancements. You could say we reinvented Cognac. I do not wish to be rude, but you gentlemen are a bit early, and I must see to making certain the cleaning crews are finished working. Please, feel free to look about a bit. I will page you later, and maybe you will join me in a small toast before the ceremonies? Yes?
It would be our pleasure, Curator.
Scotty doesn't get to drink it and he almost cries. Yeah, definitely.
I told you we invented it. Maybe we were a little hard on you, laddie.
Never doubted you for a second, Mr. Chekhov. Now let's take advantage of this time and look around.
Save new game. The plaque reads, an old ground-based phaser cannon model B-17, the real equalizer, rescued from a Federation scrapyard, probably based on the frontier near Nelapur. This phaser cannon no longer possesses any of its focusing or targeting equipment. The large capacitors in the base allowed a variety of power sources to be used to energize the cannon and gave the real equalizer considerable flexibility in use. The plaque reads, the Niven, non-integrated Vulcan electronumerator, was one of the earliest versions of a Vulcan computer. Some of the components were found to only function correctly at high temperatures. Since the focus in those early days was on computational effectiveness and not user-friendliness, the operator could not stand near the Niven during its operation. Input to the machine was cabled in from a separate device. Hence, it was a non-integrated computer.
I did a speedrun of the game. Nice. You're supposed to look all the exits, meta skip where you go to the last room and plot continues. Yeah, we are not
Lights
doing the
cascade
speedrun.
continually above the surface of this device. Plaques on each side read,
Yeah, Larry
the
Niven,
Vandecourt
Ring
Aurora
World.
generator was donated to this museum by Sir William Loudon. Originally, a university experiment designed to test broadcast power as both a containment system and photostimulation for possible use in a propulsion system, the unit was presented as a gift to Loudon, who liked the way it looked and had recently donated a significant sum to the university.
Yeah, Larry Niven was a writer and Xing went adopted both in the Star Trek universe and both in the Wing Commander, because they are cat humanoids, basically. I have read the first Ringworld books. I think there's several of them. Used to read a lot of sci-fi back when I was younger. But yeah, it's interesting to see like some totally species to end up in multiple different sci-fi.
The Klingon console looks operational, but without a ship attached, it's hard to tell. Written on the plaque, this is a control console from a Klingon warbird, the Klarg, which was salvaged from the battle wreckage near Crimmins 8.
Think you could make that work, Mr. Scott?
Of course, Captain. But it's not like I'll ever have to.
This EVA suit was worn by Ivan Petrovsky, a late 21st century Terran astronaut, during the famous Commonwealth mission. Petrovsky used this suit to dock with the damaged spacecraft SS Commonwealth and saved the vessel from certain destruction in orbit around Mars.
Petrovsky. Isn't that a Russian name?
I don't think so, Mr. Chekhov.
I sincerely doubt it, laddie.
Really? I would have sworn it was Russian.
Yeah, there's a 2 point-and-click games of the Ringworld universe and same style as this game. I like them a lot. Yeah, 90s was like a golden age of the point-and-click games. But they kind of went away after 1996, 1997. That's after the full throttle.
The plaque on the old machine reads, an early experimental transporter. The Murnane 8 was from a time before transporters were safe for travel by living beings. Constructed to be a frequently modified testbed, the Murnane 8 had only a small loading bay. The destination controls were also still in testing, making the use of this transporter as much art as science. The plaque reads, one of the most widely used and most stable designs ever. The Umber Hubble Mark 84 has been used in far more ships than any other model.
Captain Kirk, I trained on one of these. It's solid as a rock and twice as dependable.
Remind me after the ceremony. I'll talk to the curator about letting you look this one over.
Thank you, Captain. I'd dearly love to put it through its paces.
Yeah, Grim Fandango was apparently great. I haven't played it, but I hear it's pretty great.
This seems pointless. This seems pointless. This seems pointless. Written on the plaque, Federation Scientific Probe Model 331-19A. The 331-19A was powered by a small fusion reactor, since removed. The 331-19A had considerable range but was considered slow. The 331-19A carried a 3-ton instrument array. This has also been removed from the display model. This particular probe was used to monitor the collision of Algiers 5 and Algiers 6. One of the double stars at the core of the Algiers system had begun to collapse to a brown dwarf stage, and the resulting fluctuations resulted in the planet's orbital paths crossing, which led to their collision.
I've used one of these before, Captain. Everyone notices the fusion reactor, but I'll bet they forgot the fuel cell that served as backup power for the instrument package. It's probably as dry as a bone after all these years.
Aha. Hint, hint, hint. Yeah, Grim Fandango is 10 out of 10. Or there's a remaster.
Captain Kirk and party, please report to the curator's office, please. Captain Kirk and party, please report to the curator's office.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed your tour, gentlemen. Please join me. Would you mind if the first toast with the Kazakhstanian was to the Enterprise?
Curator, why isn't that Brezhnev cognac?
For heaven's sakes, Chekhov, don't interrupt a man on the verge of toasting the best ship in the fleet with the finest cognac on this side of the galaxy.
My apologies.
My apologies.
Questions later, then. The toast. Here's to the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah, hit the timer.
What could this be?
A
Red alert.
conspiracy, if you ask me, Captain.
Let me pull this up on screen.
Oh no.
They've destroyed my camera. Well, let's see how they deal with our other security systems.
Okay.
Save new game. A small, tantalizing goblet of cognac, waiting for the warm touch of Mr. Scott's hand to gently release its vapors.
I don't understand what you want me to do, Captain. I don't understand what you want me to do, Captain. Captain, I don't know what we could possibly use this for.
Yes, you do. Okay, there's a bottle.
The decanter is nearly full.
Okay, we have only alcohol.
You get no response. A small conference table and chairs. Ignoring the slight ozone odor, the curator looks peacefully asleep. No effect. No effect. No effect.
I wish Bones were here. He's out, but I can't tell you how bad it is.
This is a very expensive silver tray. A standard silver serving tray.
It could be a lethal
A
weapon.
decanter full of the curator's finest blend.
Captain, I don't know what we could possibly...
A small, tantalizing goblet of cognac, waiting for the warm touch of Mr. Scott's hand to gently release its vapors.
I feel rather bad about this, Captain.
I do too, Scotty, but it's always surprising what you need in an emergency.
Yeah.
A rather large bottle of Kazakhstanian cognac.
Okay, what's that?
I wonder what this is for.
The note on the paper reads, Bresnia, VVSOP 2123. An old suit of armor, but with a strong framework added inside to avoid any accidents. It's holding a large metal lance in its right gauntlet. The large lance shows some wear.
Okay, now we just need a horse.
This is the screen where the curator monitors the rest of the museum. A monitoring and control station for the curator's desk. Neat, organized.
Captain, they've got a wee button under here to let the curator open the door without getting up.
Alright, let's look around. So this is definitely a puzzle. Okay, that opens the door. What's that?
This glass birdhouse is the nesting place of a Brecnerian swallow.
Does it fly faster than African swallow? I wonder.
Mr. Chekhov, see if you can wedge that knight under the door.
Yes, Captain.
Okay, so I was thinking he could wear the armor, but no. Okay.
There, that should hold the door open.
Can we use the phaser cannon?
I've looked this beastie over, and the only things we might be able to use are the capacitors. I've taken them out. They'll soak up a wee bit of power before releasing it. It's working fine. Just doesn't have anything to control right now. This machine is putting out a fair amount of power. Well, it's not like anyone's likely to be using this monstrosity soon, so I pulled out the only things we might be able to use. It's not much, only some heat-resistant wiring and a cable.
So we are destroying all the museum pieces now. Yep.
Lights cascade continually above the surface of this device. Plaques on each side read, "The Vandecourt Aurora generator was donated to this museum by Sir William Loudon."
Captain, what do you want me to wire the lights to?
Can we use...
The capacitor should charge very quickly.
Okay.
The capacitor should charge very quickly.
Okay, it's a battery charger.
Save new game. Cancel. Save. Replace pre. An old-style phaser cannon capacitor. It is currently uncharged. An old-style...
Okay. Is this a time thing? More of a battery charger, okay. Oh, the sound effects.
Chekhov takes the capacitor off of the Aurora generator. Chekhov takes the capacitor...
Okay. We can't use this, we can't use this. That's a ENIAC. What's in here? I didn't check this corridor.
Security lockdown is in effect. Please enter access code. Incorrect access code. Access denied.
It wasn't that.
Security lockdown is in effect. Security lock deactivated.
Yeah, okay. No other codes around, so.
This was a sensor diagram from the Remembrance, an early Terran interstellar craft. This was a sensor. Low and sleek, this space vehicle has a Spartan look, written on the plaque. This is the escape pod in which the famous smuggler known as the Black McKiernan was captured. Unable to outrun his pursuers, McKiernan tried to escape in the pod as he blew up his ship, hoping the authorities would think he had perished. The pod had been specially constructed of expensive metalloceramic alloys to withstand such an escape tactic. Unfortunately for McKiernan, the pursuit included a trailing scout ship looking for a backtracking maneuver, and when the smiling smuggler opened the hatch thinking he'd made planetfall, he was treated to the inside view of a Federation cruiser's shuttle bay. The surface of the old docking ring is pitted from micrometeorite strikes, and there are several large welds running completely around it. Many magnetic coupling clamps are uniformly spaced around the ring. The plaque reads, "This docking ring was recovered in pieces from the port facilities at Genevieve 9, where it was broken when a freighter, the Hardy, accidentally turned on its thrusters just before mooring was completed." The plaque reads, "A failed experiment in Habis robotics. The Green Mark 6 was one of those ideas where the original concept might have been sound, but the follow-ups were too much. Planned as a simple cargo handler, attempts were made at increasing its function and therefore its flexibility. Unfortunately, proposed missions such as security were well beyond its recognition systems and processors. One small piece of lasting notoriety was that the Mark 6 was one of the first Habis robotic uses of room temperature superconducting wiring. While the wiring concept went forward, little else of this robot did."
This is a bizarre piece of machinery. I wonder what it was designed for.
It's a robot.
Most of this is just too massive to move around, but we've got some nice magnetic clamps here. Everything on this pod's too tight. I need the proper tools. I was able to get one loose access panel, but I'm not sure what we can do with it. I would love to see the sensors that originally fed data to this diagram, Captain. I don't see anything here that can help us, Captain.
No shortcuts here, it seems. We better get moving.
I don't think the schematics show the way to the other room through here. Is there something you know that we don't, Captain?
Dominated by the large displays, the odd angles of this room offer interesting viewing perspectives.
Okay, now we have a cleaning robot. Okay, that didn't work out so well.
That has to be one of the most useless robots I've ever seen.
Badly designed, Captain.
It's not going to help us, is it?
Only in a dance contest, Mr. Chekhov.
I don't understand what you want me to do, Captain.
How badly we
There's
destroyed
not
this.
a worthwhile circuit in its head, Captain. But the wirings may be helpful at some point.
Okay, now we have a wire. I wonder what we could do.
A protective panel salvaged from an escape pod.
That's like a bullet
Normal
shield.
heat-resistant wires. Superconducting wires. U-shaped magnetic clamps.
We need to be
A
MacGyver
standard
with this.
350 micron interface cable. The note on the paper reads, Bresnia, VVSOP 2123.
Can we get the battery back?
You take the capacitor out of the robot.
What else we can destroy?
No, I don't think that's
Okay.
The capacitor should charge very quickly.
Lights cascade continually above the surface of this device.
Okay, I wonder if there's like any terrorists in the next room.
No, I don't.
I already used the Scotty
This
at the
machine
tape.
is putting out a fair amount of power. This machine is putting...
Putting out a fair amount of power.
Captain, shouldn't we have a plan first before we start? Captain, when you were in school, did you ever make a tennis ball cannon?
Of course, Mr. Scott. It's a dormitory tradition. Empty cans, tape, and a little propellant. If I remember my formula... But what's that got to do with our situation?
I was standing here looking at the cannon and thought maybe we could use the same idea to get through that wee door.
You're going to knock down the door with a tennis ball?
I'm sure Scotty had something else in mind. You did, didn't you, Mr. Scott?
Aye, Captain. In an engineering dorm, that's for freshmen only. As you move along, you get into bigger and better versions.
We'll use a big tennis ball?
No, laddie. I was thinking, since we cannot fix the phaser here, maybe we could build some sort of mass driver. The capacitors on the cannon can discharge a lot of power in a short burst.
Oh, I remember. Using magnetic fields to propel an object faster and faster.
Don't say it, laddie. You didn't invent them.
Of course not. I was going to say we will need an iron tennis ball.
Okay, can you now just MacGyver things?
We'll need to start by setting up a magnetic field.
Okay, that's easy.
We'll still have to wire them up, Captain. That's going to be the real job.
Yeah, Scotty can do it. And if we have a lance, metal lance, superconducting.
Captain, I'll need a little help positioning the clamps correctly while wiring them. Captain, push harder. I'll need these tighter to get more power.
I'm giving it all I got, Scotty.
One projectile ready to go, Captain. It'll take me about 2 hours just to finish this job, Captain.
Scotty, we don't have 2 hours.
You're asking for a miracle, Captain?
You've always delivered them in the past, Mr. Scott.
Actually, Captain, I don't think these will do. They'd survive firing the beastie, but they don't carry enough current for...
I'm sure we could find something that would work in this place.
It's working fine. Just doesn't have anything to control right now.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
It's working fine. Just doesn't have anything to control right now.
This seems pointless. Lights cascade continually above the surface of this. Magnetic clamps have been positioned on the surface and wired together as a unit.
We still need a control mechanism.
Okay, wrong wire.
This end's ready, Captain.
Lights cascade magnetic clamp.
We'll need to have a power storage source before we can do anything else. There's not enough power yet.
No, I don't think that's...
Thank you, Captain. This'll be just like old times.
School must miss you dearly, Mr. Scott.
And Captain walks in front of the lance. Okay. That works. Yep.
The engineering panel. Look what we've done.
A spacesuit.
We made a bit of a mess here, didn't we? We had no choice. Remember, who's really at fault here?
That we will, Captain.
An old style phaser. An old style phaser.
Can we take the batteries?
Chekhov takes the capacitor off of the Aurora generator. Chekhov takes the capacitor off of the Aurora generator.
All we need is a suitable...
We already used this. Okay, there's a terrible mess here.
Save new game. Save new game. Cancel. Delete previous. Replace previous.
The plaque on the old machine. Whatever used to be on this pedestal is now long gone.
Scotty,
I don't
fix it.
understand what you want me to do, Captain.
Okay, Scotty can't fix that. What's that?
I don't think McCoy would like this transporter, Captain. Even I would not want to use this one.
You? Not use a piece of equipment? Why not, Mr. Scott?
This little beastie put out a wee bit of energy discharge during transport. You've heard of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
Of course, Mr. Scott.
Well, this is the Mulligan certainty field, guaranteed to do bad things to you even Dr. McCoy cannot fix. You can block the radiation, but she's not something I'd want to play with unless I absolutely had to. You'd have to repair the wires anyway. And the power unit's been pulled out too. You think Uhura would like it if we swapped this one for hers?
Scotty, I never took you for having a death wish.
Actually, Captain, this one's not in bad shape. They took the transmitting gear and she's got no power. But other than that, she's in fine condition. They run a ship-shaped museum here. No change, Captain. She's still...
So we could technically call help.
I don't understand what you want.
No effect. No effect. No effect.
Soon you have to choose one of two ways to resolve the issue, and you can't do the both. Okay.
No effect.
Security lockdown is in effect. Please enter access code.
Written on the plaque.
Scotty, fix the probe.
The access panel is stuck, Captain. I don't think any of us are strong enough to pull it free. This is an odd beastie, Captain. I'm not even sure how they powered this thing. It'd take days to begin to understand it.
You, Scotty?
I'm only human, Captain. I don't understand what...
The plaque reads, "The Dunkelberger Automated Worker Mark 12 was a successful entry in the early days of automated labor. The Mark 12 was designed to function as a cargo helper, allowing small manufacturers to cheaply compete against large corporations. Due to their small size, reliability, and obedience, these robots were often treated like pets and given names that were incorporated into their response systems. This particular version was called Barney."
Barney, the robot.
The plaque reads,
Okay.
"The schematics for a Dunkelberger Automated Worker Mark 12. Written on the plaque. This display is all glistening angles of crystal. Written on the plaque. An early example of the crystalline computers developed by the Lantoids of Tuner 9. Supposedly impossible to access by non-Lantoid life forms, the computer works on a combination of harmonics and light transmission. The Lantoids make physical contact with the computer to operate it. It is said that listening..."
Okay.
I don't know how this works, but looking at it reminds me of the time when I was a boy working on my first electronics project. I built one of those old crystal radios. Maybe this computer somehow projects its answers into your mind.
It may be just looking at the crystals made you remember that, Captain.
It's possible. Are you now practicing psychology, Mr. Scott?
Oh no, Captain. I'm just a simple country engineer.
Okay, so we should open this tray at the probe.
It would help if I looked the probe over first, so...
We already...
The access panel is stuck, Captain. I don't think any of us are strong enough to pull it free.
Well, there's a robot slave here, so... Scotty, fix it.
Can't have it do anything until we get it running.
Ah, okay.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
There's only a wee bit of juice in this capacitor, but I think it'll be enough to power up the robot. It's a tight squeeze, Captain. I don't think we'll be able to get it back out once it's in. Should I go ahead and do it?
We could use the help, Mr. Scott. Energize the robot. Not yet, Mr. Scott. We may need that power else. We could use the help, Mr. Scott. Energize the robot.
Barney. Open the pod bay door.
Looks like a Flappy Bird.
Written on the plaque,
I knew it. They forgot to take out the fuel cell. That fusion reactor always scares people enough that they forget the backup cell. It's dry now. You'd need to wet this beauty down and
Yeah,
put
open the
catalyst in her.
pod bay door. That was so classical.
If I talk, I can't work or think, Captain. We could probably get the fuel cell to generate power with a little work. It was made to be adaptable. I don't understand what you want me. If I talk, I can't.
Okay, so we don't have a fuel cell in our inventory. What do we have?
Not much reason to try to. It's a good thing to build in so much flexibility. The silver isn't a bad catalyst and will act as a contact too.
Are we powering this up with alcohol? Yes, we are.
Better than brandies, more than stums. Look out, fuel cell, here she comes.
Okay.
All hooked up and charging, Captain.
Okay. Apparently it works. It just works.
an old-style phaser cannon capacitor. It is currently uncharged. You get no response. The plaque reads,
We'd be pressing our luck letting it poke around in there, Captain.
Okay, no. Horrible sounds.
All ready to go, Captain.
Okay, we have a power. I have the power.
I wouldn't know where to start, Captain.
There's nothing I can do.
Kirk, can
I
you
don't know
use
how
it?
this works, but looking at it reminds me of the time when I was a boy working on my first electronics project. I built one of those old...
It may be just looking...
It's possible.
Oh no, Captain.
Let's go and slap the crystal computer.
It probably wouldn't hurt anything to take one crystal. It's just a display after all.
Right.
This one looks good.
So we have destroyed almost all museum exhibits here. So what we have here now is a crystal.
an unusual piece of crystal.
That helps a lot.
Save new game. Save new cancel. Delete previous. Save new game. Cancel. Delete pre. Save new game.
No idea what I should be doing with these. Although Kirk said about something about building a crystal radio.
It's been a while, but I think that will work.
Okay. What else? Battery.
All hooked in, Captain.
Gentlemen, we still need to come up with a transmitter. No, I don't think... No, I don't think that... No, I don't think that's...
Some antennas are actually just a wire.
No, I don't think that...
Couldn't pick anything up from here.
You remove the silver tray.
Okay, so we can get this. In this game you need to use the same object several times, so...
I rigged up an isolated piece of frame in there as one conducting plate and the tray as the other. It's not the best solution, but it's the best I can do here.
Right. Actually, you can make a parabolic antenna from the duct tape, so... it's not that far-fetched.
Well, let's see how well this works. Kirk to Enterprise. Kirk to Enterprise. Enterprise, come in.
Who is this?
This is Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Who are you? Whoever you are, call for help. There are terrorists in the museum. This is Captain Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. I'm in the Smithsonian Museum, where hostages are being held.
How interesting. I'm in the Smithsonian Museum holding hostages.
Who am I talking to?
Oh no.
You should give up immediately. You have no chance. I'm holding a Corbomite device.
Corbomite device
Why
again.
Don't you and I discuss this?
If you do the dialogue wrong, you fail the mission.
Who am I talking to?
Why you?
My name is Lucas. I'm a member of the Lockean family, Onakan.
I've never heard of the Onakan family.
It's no surprise you haven't heard of us, even though we're one of the largest and oldest families on Lockean. Just shows how much the Federation believes the lies the Soransi pass along.
The Soransi are your enemies? I find it unlikely the Federation will take sides. Of course the Federation backs the Soransi. The Soransi are your... I find it unlikely the Federation will take sides.
If the Federation isn't backing the Soransi, how do you explain a ceremony giving the Soransi the Quelke? Obviously, the Federation believes their lies.
The Kelke? You mean the probe?
It is more than just a probe to us. The Quelke discovered Lockean generations ago. The entire race owes its existence to the Quelke.
I knew it had great significance. I just didn't know there was anyone else involved. This is when the original planet was on the verge of being destroyed. I thought the Soransi ruled your race. Shouldn't they be the ones that controlled the Kelke? I knew it had great significance. I just didn't know there was anyone else involved.
The Soransi presently have control of the communication facilities. They've been restricting access to make their positions seem more powerful.
So you feel you have a legitimate claim on the Kelke? Are they illegally restricting communications or just not listening to a renegade group of terrorists? So you feel you have a legitimate claim on the Kelke?
We have as much claim to that probe as anyone.
It sounds like you have a legitimate grievance. Does the Soransi also have a right to the Kelke? Then why is the museum handing the Kelke over to the Soransi? It sounds like you have a legitimate grievance.
So leave us alone. Let us finish what must be done.
You know we can't let you do that. This is your last warning. You know we can't let you do that.
And we can't let you stop us. This is something that has to be dealt with.
This is your last warning. Release the hostages now, or suffer the consequences. Then this situation should be looked into more closely by the Federation. We're here with the best intentions. You want peace? We want peace. This is your last warning. Then this situation should be looked into more closely by the Federation. We're here with the best intentions. You want peace? We want peace. Then this situation should be looked into more closely by the Federation. We're here with the...
Is that an offer?
That's a guarantee. Obviously, I'll have to check with my superior. That's a guarantee.
Then we have a deal. We will turn off the security override and give ourselves up. And trust the word of Captain Kirk.
Yes.
Mr. Chekhov, have Dr. McCoy beam down to make sure the curator and guards are all right. Mr. Scott, lower the museum's shields and have a security team beamed aboard. Captain's log supplement. The terrorists had already turned off the security override. After putting the 3 Onicons in custody, it was decided that the probe would not be returned to the Saransi. Federation mediators will visit Lakian to assist in the negotiations on the fate of this artifact. The fact that they gave up voluntarily when they could have possibly escaped and injured no one certainly made points for the Onicon's claim. Curator Brezhnev was treated by Dr. McCoy and is in good health. Commendations are in order for Scott and Chekhov for meritorious service. Lieutenant Uhura, send a message to Admiral Richards. Tell him he owes me more than he thinks he does.
Aye, sir. I have a feeling he's not going to be surprised.
I'm afraid I'm going to remember this mission with a great deal of sadness, Captain.
Why is that, Mr. Scott?
We destroyed the museum.
Cognac, Captain. It was just waiting for us, and now it's
Yeah, Scotty.
such a waste. You always remember the one that got away.
Sure, Scott.
Captain, message incoming from Starfleet.
I see they got our report. On screen.
I've reviewed your report from your recent assignment, Captain, and have a few comments. I am very pleased with your performance. It was a perfect mission, Jim. Your reputation as Starfleet's best starship captain is secure. Kane out.
Okay, that sounds good. Good thing I picked the right choices and not the wrong choices.